So, are we gonna go into that Cupid shuffle line and ask Mel and Harry how they kept our respective roles from each other, or are we gonna talk to each other and figure it out on our own? Hey to you too. It's genuinely been way too long. I don't really understand how whenever I'm back in town, we completely miss each other at every social event. It's almost like there's something up there keeping us away from each other. At least trying to, evidently. Maybe they know how powerful we would be if we reunited. We always used to shut down whatever function we went to with our sick karaoke. Look at us now, though. I guess they couldn't keep us apart forever. And it only took for our actual best friends to get married. At this rate, we might even be lucky enough to see each other for their 10-year anniversary. It's weird, right? I hope this doesn't throw you off guard, but out of the four of us, it seemed like everyone thought that you and I would be the first ones to get married. The two of them just seemed so free, traveling all over the world, filled with such a sense of wanderlust that seemed infinite. And we were just here, making a life together, happy as could be in our own little world. I remember constantly getting postcards from them from a different continent almost every month, and then, at least to me, so suddenly they've bought a house here and are starting a family together. It really makes you reflect on your own situation a lot. I am not trying to bring the mood down. I didn't mean that it makes you reflect in a bad way, it just makes you think about all of the possible choices you could have made differently, and all the potential paths that would have opened up from those decisions. I can't imagine that most people don't feel that way at weddings, you know? Yeah, I guess I did just go into monologuing. Seeing the back of your head when I was walking towards the fountain made me feel really nostalgic, and I started reminiscing about everything, I guess. How are you doing? That is so amazing. You said you'd be towards the top of the firm in 10 years, and it only took you half the time. The nose must have really been to the grindstone, huh? Oh, come on. That's gotta be an exaggeration. You without a social life doesn't even sound right. I'm 90% sure that if you looked up social butterfly in the dictionary, a picture of you would be right there with that giant grin on your face. $50 hours a week is insane. Are you at least at a point where you don't have to overwork yourself like that anymore? I'm really glad that it was a good distraction for you then. I did call, actually. I called every day, just like I said I would, for about a month straight. And every time I did, it would just go straight to voicemail. I just assumed you would block my number, which I wouldn't have blamed you for, and didn't want to hear from me. So I gave up after a while and got the hint that you didn't want to hear from me at all. Really? Don't worry about it. It's fine. Maybe you did it as a spur of the moment thing and forgot to unblock it or something like that. I won't say that I wasn't disappointed though. Hey, just because we broke up doesn't mean that my opinion of you as a friend changed. And it's not even like we broke up because we didn't like each other. It was just an unfortunate circumstance. It's funny you... it is funny that you ask that because the job is going great. Too great, in fact. Well, my boss really liked what I was doing at the agency. He enjoyed having someone who was always insanely ahead of deadlines and would be able to pick up the slack for other workers, which, I mean, what boss wouldn't want that? Anyways, I was always staying late at the office to get my work done quickly because we worked on a salaried rate, and I would just work my butt off for 3 days straight and have 4-day weekends. The only other person who was ever at the office that late was my boss, and we would kind of sit together, do our work, and talk about the world, everything in it. We became friends pretty quickly, and one day he called me in, told me that I was too good to be in this office, and moved me over to virtual work completely. Yeah, it is really awesome. It's so awesome, in fact, that I decided to move back here. Uh-huh. You know that house over in that cute little isolated neighborhood off of Lafayette that's got about an acre of land and is completely surrounded by trees that we used to dream about living in when we were teens? It came on the market almost immediately after I got the news, and I snatched it up as soon as possible. You would think that I'm lying. I tend to tease about stuff like this, but I'm not. I'm not one to throw around the word destiny all willy-nilly, but there's no other word to describe that. At least not one in my lexicon. There's another reason that I'm here as well, and I got permission from both the bride and groom to do what I have to do in a secluded area where I can't draw attention away from their absolutely killer cabbage patches that they keep doing on the dance floor, to the chagrin of the two of us. Don't get mad at them for conspiring with me, and don't get mad at me for pretending that I didn't know you were gonna be here until I finish, please. And if you still want to get mad, just take it out on me and hold off on them until they get back from their honeymoon, all right? Okay, you can do this. You're here. You can do this. It's all good. All right. For the first couple of months that I lived in Sacramento, I cried almost every night before I went to sleep. Sure, some of it was because I worked 15-hour days, but it was mostly because I couldn't deal with the fact that I felt like I had made the biggest mistake of my life, leaving you behind. I know that some people say you need to put work over relationships when you're young, like it's the easiest thing in the world, but I don't know if those people ever had a relationship to put their work over. I drowned myself in my work so I wouldn't even have time to think about you, and you still somehow managed to infiltrate my thoughts all the time. Eventually, though, as the time passed and you didn't answer your calls, I started looking at it in a different way. We were both in radically different places in our lives when I left. I was kinetic and you were static, and if we tried to make those two energies combine, we would have ended up ruining things completely. And I didn't want that. We both said we invested ourselves in our careers over the past couple of years, and in doing so, we both got to positions that we talked about as dreams when we were in college. Maybe I'm gonna sound crazy, but I don't necessarily think what happened was a bad thing. Sure, we were both sad for a while, but we got exactly where we wanted to be in about half the time span we thought it would take to get there. And I can only speak for myself now, but, and here comes the tricky part of this whole thing, kind of leading up to it. I never stopped loving you. Ever. I would not lie to you about something like this. I was never that cruel, and you know that. Ever since my boss told me I could go completely virtual, I couldn't stop daydreaming all day about coming back here and sweeping you off your feet and holding on to you until we both wither away into nothingness. The day I figured it out, I asked Harry to get me some intel from Mel on whether or not you still had any sort of feelings left for me, and without revealing any actual information, he told me that you did. Like I said, you can kill them after their honeymoon, just not now. We have more important things at hand. Look at me. The dream is possible. I want us to live together in our house with our dogs that we haven't met yet and watch Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune every night cuddled up on the couch together. I've spent the past 2 years away from you, and I want nothing more than to spend every waking moment in your presence. I know we talked about dreams when it came to jobs and it came to lifestyle, but I guess I needed a little bit of time away to realize that you are my dream. I was about to say that you have no idea how much I've been wanting that, but Judging by that kiss, I think you might have been wanting it just as much. Now, at risk of making me sound like the oldest human being at this wedding, which it will, there's no risk to it, it's just 100% guarantee, are you at all interested in cutting a rug with me? You will absolutely be embarrassed if you go out there on that dance floor with me, but at least we'll be embarrassed together. That's all I could hope for. Let's go.